Today I want to talk about the importance of having a prepared intro. What's up, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Comedy Tip Tuesday. I'm your host, Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. So as always, I want to remind you before we get started to comment if you have a question. Comment just for the hell of it so that it helps me out with the algorithm. Like the video, of course. Don't be snotty. Just click the little like button. It doesn't cost you anything. And subscribe so you know when I'll be posting again, because I post all sorts of fun stuff. I'm a great resource, and I wish you guys would stop being such haters. Just playing. I've gotten a fair amount of followers. I'm not tripping. Anyway, there's only one question from last week, and it was from CF. CF is a friend of mine on YouTube. I don't know exactly where you're based. I think you're Las Vegas. Anyway, CF says, most open mics I can find only let the comedians do 3 to 5 minutes. I'm more of a storyteller. What would you recommend I do if I want to put together a longer joke or set? Should I just focus on writing shorter, punchy jokes, or is there another avenue for someone with my style? Even the headliners I watch don't have sets made of several tight threes. So there's a couple ways to go at this. The way that I do it, because every once in a while I have something that I want to work on that's a little bit longer, is I'll break it up into bits and then I'll just put it all together when I do longer sets. And that's been effective for me. I know that there's certain mics that do offer more time. They're just a little bit harder to find. Like I said, I think you're here in Vegas. If you're not here in Vegas, then just do a little bit of research on your own and your comedy groups. Facebook comedy groups are a good resource. Anyway, here in Vegas specifically, Kevin Winnie runs a mic on Wednesday nights that he only puts the information out in the Facebook group specifically. Like Vegas Action and Entertainment is one that I've seen him posted on, and it's on Wednesdays. Usually he'll post about it on Tuesdays. You can send him a message, you can sign up, and they give everybody 10 minutes. They give everybody 10 minutes. That mic is the longest set length for a mic that I know of here in Las Vegas. If you're not in Vegas, like I said, do a little bit of research in your town. But when it comes to breaking it up into the shorter set or the shorter bits, what I would say is even when you're doing storytelling, you want to have several pops. So maybe you feel like you didn't do a full set in 3 minutes, but don't worry about that. Just worry about doing parts of what you actually want to work on, because open mics, even though, yes, we try to do our best at them, are more about you and using them for what you need them for than actually giving a set. That's the way I see it, and that's what I do. So hopefully that helps you out. Hopefully that helps everybody out. Like I said, leave any questions you guys have. I'm looking for suggestions because I personally think I'm kind of running out of things to talk about, even though I could talk about stand-up forever. But as far as just like tips, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do next, and I'm not really that worried about it because, you know, this is just a part of what I do on my channel. So if I discontinue Comedy Tip Tuesdays, then I discontinue Comedy Tip Tuesdays. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was the importance, because I do think this one is important, and I've been thinking about this quite a bit for the last week. I want to talk about the importance of having a prepared intro. An intro can be important in the way that a lot of times the host of a show has to have an intro because the club wants them to or the venue wants them to. So I hate when I'm performing with a comic or when I bring a comic along and the host is like, what do you want me to say about you? And the comic's like, just say anything. And the host is like, I don't know you, so I don't want to just say anything. I don't want to just make something up. Tell me what I should say. So that's why I say you should have a prepared intro. Like, even if it's something that's like basic, we all start somewhere. So most comics are going to understand that. I've never heard anybody make fun of somebody for their intro unless it was like the traditional clubs, colleges, and military bases all across the country. Like that one is one we all get like, okay, so we're going that route, but it's still an intro. But what I would say, if you don't have an actual intro, you haven't done anything yet. And like I said, I'm not saying that in a catty way. We all start somewhere. But maybe just take something that you do that's not really a credit and make it sound like a credit. Like if you perform regularly at one particular club or one particular mic, nobody's going to have a problem with you saying that you perform there regularly. Now, I'd be very careful about using the term regular because I've seen people say that they're Comedy Store regulars, and anybody that knows a Comedy Store knows that there's a process to becoming a Comedy Store regular. So whenever I would see people say, this next comedian is a Comedy Store regular, I'd be like, okay, that's not one of the regulars. Is your name on the wall? Because if your name isn't on the wall, if nobody passed you as a regular, then you're not a regular. It's kind of like a comedy version of Stolen Valor. No offense to my military friends. I know Stolen Valor is an actual thing, and it has a military connotation, but when it comes to stand-up, that's like a version of Stolen Valor. You haven't actually earned that. You haven't actually done it. Yeah, maybe you perform regularly at the Comedy Store, and most of us will be like, passable. Okay, if you regularly do one of the bringers at the Comedy Store, then you do perform regularly at the Comedy Store. Same with Laugh Factory, same with everywhere. Don't say that you're a regular if you're not a regular, but you can say you perform regularly if you do perform regularly. Also, at one point, when I was first starting out, I performed for my church, like in the basement for like a talent show that they'd put on, and I was the comedian that was hosting the whole thing. And so for a minute there, that was my intro, and it led me into a joke, where I would talk about the fact that I had performed at the Catholic Church, and that would be surprising to most people. And so it was a fun place to start my set. So think about it that way too. If you can have in your intro a way that you can lead yourself into your first joke or set yourself up for your first joke, then maybe that's a way to look at it too. But definitely do have something just in case they ask, because they need something sometimes, and that's not about the host just being bitchy with you. That is about the host having a responsibility to the club or something that the club thinks that they should be doing. And so if you can just help that out. I know I get annoyed, like I said, when I bring people along and they don't have a prepared intro. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm probably not going to bring you along again because nobody wants to play this game. And then as far as your intro goes, another thing that I want to say that I think is very important is that it doesn't matter. Like, if they mess it up, then they mess it up. I see so many comics make such a big deal of that and really get mad about it. They messed up my intro. Nobody cares. Nobody knew who you were anyway. They mess up your intro, they mess up your name, whatever they do, they do. Don't make a big deal out of things nobody cares about, because I've seen that too, where they'll mispronounce the comic's name and the comic gets like, actually, my name is such and such. Bitch, nobody cares. If you were that important, we would already know your name. So stop making a big deal, like I said, out of things that nobody cares about. So that's something to keep in mind. Like, I've had people call me Thigh Rivera. I tell hosts all the time when they're going to introduce me, they'll be like, what's your intro? And I'll give them my intro, which is not complicated usually. Not usually. It's never complicated. I always make it as easy as possible. But I'll tell them my intro, and I'll be like, this is my intro. If you get it, you get it. If you completely forget it, don't worry about that either. Because I've seen hosts stress about that too, where they really feel bad about messing up my intro. And I'm just like, I'm going to do whatever I do with or without that intro. So I'm not worried about it at all. Those are the people that get upset about their intro getting messed up usually, are the people that aren't funny anyway. It's just what it is. 9 out of 10, when you see somebody really get mad about their intro, really care about their intro, it's because they're not going to do well anyway. So they need all the help they can get in that intro. I need you to say that I was in this movie. I need you to say that I did this TV show. I need you to say that I perform at this. Nobody cares. Just be funny in the moment. You don't need anybody to say anything. Yeah, it might make you feel better for people to say these things about you. It might make you feel better that you've done these things. But all that matters is what happens in this set, what happens in this moment. That's the only thing that really matters. And like I said, with people messing up your name, it doesn't really matter. I've had people call me out for messing up their names because I don't usually host. And when I do host, I try my best, but every once in a while I mispronounce a name. And I will literally tell them if they try to make fun of me for it or make a big deal out of it, I'll just be like, nobody knows you anyway. So, and like the audience will die laughing and people will be like, that's not professional. No. What's not professional is you making a big deal of me messing up your name that nobody cares about or knew anyway. That's what's not professional. Me getting a big laugh from the audience for making fun of you for trying to make a big deal out of that. That is professional because I'm technically doing what we're supposed to do, which is have fun and make the audience laugh. So I would say that's the importance and unimportance of a prepared intro. And that's your Comedy Tip Tuesday for this week. I hope everybody enjoyed it. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.